Okay, this is the 63 Ford. It's been sitting here for a month probably or more. But we'll just see here. Here, let's see the camera. Actually running kind of good. So it does that. I think it has an ignition problem. It's very afraid of the pedal. Yeah. It's also easy to flood, which is what I think I just did. I think it's the alternator. Alright, so what we've seen so far is that this is our 63 Ford and it's not running quite right. So it pretty much broke down on us in the middle of the street, and I suspected a fuel problem. Not sure if that was even it, but the carburetor is working really well. We rebuilt it, new fuel filter, it starts right up, on and on. So after that, I'm pretty sure it's an ignition problem. If we look over here, everything's basically untouched from how we drug it home one day. If you come over here and look at all the ignition system is old. So we're going to tune up on that. And then if you look over here, there's a few problems with the battery. This is the only ground on the vehicle, and it's a long ways from the starter and certain important electrical components. So that's even worse than just having a vice grip on the battery. That was because we cranked it to death twice, jumping it, and then these are terrible connections. If you move in on these terminals, don't ever buy those and expect those to work. You'll never find someone saying that how great they are. So it was loose and it got hot, and it was easier for me to just rip it off and use a vice grip. So first, I think what we can do is spin the battery around and use this ground cable if it'll reach down to the starter. That'd be a great place to start with grounding, and then this one we can spin around. Probably still gonna use the vice grip for a minute, and we'll get some better terminals. It is super tight for being a body hood mount. I guess they at least wanted it to have good continuity. Wow. I'm moving the whole vehicle here. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure something else out. What? It certainly wasn't because it was loose. Maybe it's a good thing we're not doing body work on this vehicle. Let me get the impact. Yeah, socket's no good. Alright, so we have one new ground cable going down to the starter, and there is a ground cable from the block to the frame, it looks like, which is a good thing. And then we still have the quick connect on here because I bought the wrong length, not thinking, but it was cheaper to buy fully made cables. Let's have a look. Work, and there's still dash lights, so it's getting grounded somehow. Safe to say it still has the problem. We pulled out some champions, which some people would think is the whole problem with the entire vehicle. Put in some NGK V-Powers. They weren't looking too great, but it looks like it's firing on all of them. I'm not betting this will fix it though.
points gap is super tight, which is not something that probably happened to stall us out in the middle of the street one day, but I can't get a 6thou gauge in it. Right now I can't even get, there we go. So we're going to turn this up to 16 or 17 thousandths and see if that helps. Okay, we went with 16 thousandths for the points, and then what I was doing before, I was holding my finger over the vacuum advance line that wasn't hooked up while I revved it up, but now it's hooked up. So points were pretty tight. That's not going to be in the fan, right? It's fine. So I think we found the problem, and it still has the crusty old wires and cap on it, which I think is just awesome. So the plugs, I did notice a slight improvement. Grounding it to the engine block, that was just a no-brainer. It had to be done. I don't know if that really helped, but those points were way off. It did scare me when it didn't start up right away. It was like a little hesitant. But I think it's time to introduce the 63. So you drove this in high school a little bit, right?
Yes.
Pretty cool. Didn't get driven a lot. It has the wrong bed on it from the 60s. That's a whole nother story. But it's all here. Everything that hasn't rusted away.
Patina.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a cool looking rig. And we have a little bit of an adventure planned here. We want to drive it 250 miles, and we have less than 24 hours to hit the road, and that includes going to work for 8 hours at least tomorrow. So I think we're officially thrashing now.
Yep.
A few things are definitely getting skipped, but we're definitely going to change the oil. And, well, it might need some lights to be legal. So I guess we'll have that. So I noticed that the oil is not really that bad. And then we got to thinking here, and you said that it had the problem, which the problem was the fuel tank, which we switched out because it had a bad draw straw. And so the oil got changed, and then it got driven, ran out of gas prematurely, and then parked. So maybe let's throw a quart of Lucas in it and
hit the road.
Yeah, so that'll be a good trip to get the most vitamins and nutrients out of that oil, and maybe we can focus on a few other things here. I'm okay with that. This exhaust system is a little loud for cruising. I don't know if that's real cherry bomb glass pack, but the outlet here is 2 1/4. This is off a brick nose Ford, I think. Factory, I guess. Sort of. That's been reattached somehow, and there's the end hanger. I don't know, but I know I only need one, and I'm thinking might just come apart. Oh, don't want to bend the good parts. Oh, it's hung up. Oh, okay, I've attached it. There. Well, that might help me decide which one to use. So the exhaust is right there. Just noticed there's a hanger kind of there. And the real goal here was just to extend it out and maybe turn it out to get the noise away from the cab. And these mufflers will not fit where they'll end up right in the middle of the axle and the shock. It'd be a little bit okay if I get them high. I don't think I can. And this is just some lunch break repairs. But I'm gonna try and maybe take this one off here where something's been worked on, and this tailpipe's disconnected, and maybe just run that much of it. That's all I got. Just about the only way it'll work, the easiest. You could spend some time and get it all the way out, but that's something that is already surpassed. So I ended up taking the exhaust that was right here, and the length turned out good. What I did was, this is a little repair joint. They did a good job. Cut this open. Obviously I cut off the manifold, crossover, whatever. Spun this end 180 degrees because I need the muffler in the up position like this in the back. I'm going to take advantage of that bend there because right here it's actually bent down out of the cherry bomb unit. Might just work. I just slid that in by myself. That was plenty easy. And then I just need to get rid of that bracket that was connecting them both together. I can get the muffler up decent. We're not going to go do much off-roading, but I think we'd be able to. So I just need to, I mean, this came out. You couldn't have even guessed or asked for better. So getting rid of that. Up, that's going to be where it hits. I could even put a tailpipe on. So if you notice up front, this is going to go in like perfect. Maybe. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's in. So look at that. This is how the rest of everything is installed. So I'm gonna be real critical here and make sure I match what was existing in terms of exhaust hangers. Alright. Yeah, this went right in. Like, I couldn't have even planned something like this. And this is the only gas vehicle exhaust that I had to pick from. It is hitting the show. Oh, now it's not. I don't even know the last time I worked on an exhaust. I can't remember when I've actually put one back on. So, engine's tuned up. This is the first startup sitting overnight. New exhaust.
Can I get Deanna to register one for customer?
Got the grease points. There we go. It got on something at least. I've been watching the gauge and the mile markers. I think we can squeeze 100 miles out of it. Depends on if the gauge is right. This is the tallest hill we'll see. Check out the sassy taillights. Really hasn't skipped a beat. The headlights are actually acceptable. Doing great, really. once we were able to get on top of the Continental Divide, I was maintaining set 60, so I call that okay. Other than that, it's really running fine. The temperature didn't climb hardly at all. This exhaust is still here, which is just fantastic. Yeah, that's great. The noise mostly comes from crazy wind and terrible weather stripping, but it did quiet it down, the engine noise, a little bit. Cool. So I didn't check it after we put the Lucas in. I think it's fine. Maybe it burned off. Maybe it was at full and it burned that off in 110 miles. Belt's still here. I'd never checked the coolant. That's fine. Perfect. So it does have seepage that's actually new, so could always improve on that as opposed to having an oil fire. Sweet. Oh yeah. Wow, that's my throttle lever. Huh. I didn't mind riding there. Ah, jeez. Okay. He's all right. So it totally turned darker on our way here, but it didn't really lose much. It's all right. Picked up a couple items. onto our last leg home. Doing just fine. So I filled up and I clicked the pump off twice. We used 6.3 gallons in 104 miles. That's like 17 miles to the gallon.
Holy cow.
I really don't know if that's right.
Well, the wind was at our back, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy. We were doing pretty much 60. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we should have got twice as much gas, but that's what it said. Got help coming. I ended up going right up there for cell phone service. Okay, so we have help on the way. I don't know what happened to this tire, but it let the wind out. It was a little sketchy, but not too big of a deal. This tire is the actual spare for my green Dodge. It's flat, but we're gonna try something here. Yeah, I think that is new. Some of that, definitely. So that's why it wasn't the preferred spare tire, but it kind of helped us out, so we made it. Just almost without hiccup.
Almost.
But the pickup ran perfect.
Yeah, it wasn't the engine that stopped
Yeah.
us.
Yep, it was let's see, that's the outside. Yep.